This is ridiculous. I just don't understand.
There it is. Hi. So it's been a while and I wanted to do one of these as like a one-off special. Like, I'm not doing monthly vlogs anymore because it was mentally exhausting and it was a lot of work, and I have a lot of other work that I should be doing and should be prioritizing. But today is a bit of a special day, and so I wanted to commemorate it by doing a little vlog to not just announce some stuff, but to also have some fun and to do some and just share a glimpse into what my life is currently like. So stick around because I'm going to sprinkle announcements all the way throughout this video. And if you think, oh, he's just trying to get his watch time up, you'd be right. I am absolutely just trying to get my watch time up. So the main reason that I wanted to do this in the first place is because I have a couple of things coming out quite close together, but the first thing I want to talk about is the release that's out literally today and what it means and why it's exciting. Now, some of you might remember, I didn't post about it on here, but I had a double album come out a few months ago now with Viv, which was released with Stereofox, and it was a super cool, great experience. What was that? But yeah, it was a great experience, and it was always kind of part one of kind of two in a sense, because there's always been two double albums, and the first one being the one that Viv and I made together, but the next part is my own solo double album that I'm releasing myself, and it's going to be out at the end of January, which is really, really exciting. I'm also quite nervous about it because it feels like the biggest release that I've had since probably Motions, in terms of like on a personal level. Even though I know there's been journals and stuff like that, but that's a separate point. So I guess the main point of today's like vlog is that I wanted to talk about this album and what it means to me and to give some context. So the first single is out today, and it's called A Fisherman Lost at Sea, and it is the first single from my double album Stories from the Sea, which is coming out on the 31st of January, and there'll be about 3 more singles before the album drops. It's again 20 songs all in one album, and I'm going to drop all 20 at once on the 31st of January. There's not going to be a part 1, part 2 type thing with this. It just felt right to me to kind of have this album come out all as one big thing. The first single that you're hearing that's out today is literally the first song on the album too. It's like it's the thing that for me really kind of set off this whole thing. It's such an important track to me and the start of a really important journey and something I really wanted to talk about. So Stories from the Sea is kind of using this sort of analogy of being, you know, isolated, lost at sea, if you will, to kind of explain and explore loneliness and isolation, and not in this like, you know, post-lockdown world that we live in now, more in this kind of personal, like very internalized sort of sense. It's something that I have been battling with in a lot of different ways. It's almost fitting that I'm battling it kind of all over again right now internally. I love the sea, I love exploring things using the ocean, and I haven't done it in a really long time. So I thought it'd be really nice to do it with this album, and this album is really, really special to me. So that's the main reason for today's vlogs, but we're gonna go do some other stuff. I need to go do some shopping. So we're going to go do some shopping, and that is important to the narrative of this vlog, but you'll find out why later. So I'm about to head off to the shops, and it is such a miserable grey day here in the UK. It is, I mean, it's cold, it's rainy, it's really grey and miserable looking. I mean, so let's go get this over with. I hate going to the shops. Okay, so shopping is now done and everything is put away, and I figure let's make some music. I think that it's getting there. I think it just needs some shaker and perhaps like a vocal texture type thing, and it should be sounding a little bit more full after that. And then we can maybe add some more stuff to it. I don't know. The only other thing that I feel like this could use is just like a nice little like smooth e-piano like lead solo type thing over it, and then I'm ready to go and turn it into like a full thing. So let's do that. So that's that for that song. I'm probably going to go and edit the rest of it off of camera, and then it'll be out in like, I don't know, like 6 months or something, I don't know. It's actually been a while since I've made something like a bit more chill and like sleepy like that. I've been trying to kind of move away from that style for Project Air for a little while, but then to be fair, I also haven't been making a lot of Project Air music recently because most of this year's releases have been kind of written for a really long time. Like this double album I wrote back in January and February of this year, of 2022, and it's not going to be out. My solo one isn't going to be out until the end of January, which is definitely kind of strange. It's strange to now be getting back into kind of writing for Project Air again, but it's also, I think, having that break has meant that I've had the time to, one, experiment with other genres and try different things. I released an IDM album not too long ago. I have obviously been doing stuff for Air as well. There's been, you know, I've been writing for a whole other record of that, which is super exciting as well. And it's meant that coming back to Project Air has been really fresh and exciting, which is cool because it means that I'm able to give it like a fresh perspective. I don't want Project Air to get stale, especially because the discography is going to cross like 300 songs soon, which is just insane, really. But you know, to still be doing this is like, it really does mean a lot. And you know, before I start announcing more stuff, I do just want to say like a massive thank you. Like if you're listening to my stuff, if you're watching this, if you're here on this YouTube channel, even though I've not posted for a really long time, like thank you, and thank you for putting up with me doing so many different things. Like I know that this is a Project Air channel, but you're gonna have to bear with me for a little while because there's gonna be like a bit of Air and a bit of Project Air, and I've got some really cool stuff planned for Project Air. There's gonna be like a sequel thing to Motions Live. It's not going to be as long as Motions Live, it won't be anywhere near as long, but the idea I've got is really cool. If I can make it happen, you'll see that in like the new year as well, so there's loads of cool stuff coming with that. Speaking of Air stuff, I also have a pretty cool announcement to make, which is that exactly 1 week from now, on the 30th of November, the next Air single is coming, and it's the start of something completely new for Air. It's going to be very, very different to everything that you've heard so far and seen, because there's also going to be a music video coming on the same day. The new song is called Relate. It actually is a collaboration with my good friend Sam Baird, who some of you will know that I've been producing for this past year, and we've produced so much music that it's kind of eventually spilled over into my music as well, which is super fun. The song is quite different for me, and a song that I'm so happy with. I can't wait for you to hear it. And if you stick around to the end, maybe there'll be a preview, because you know, watch time and all that. But yeah, so I started writing this song after we started doing live rehearsals, because Sam and I have been working together on putting together live shows for his stuff and for my stuff, like with me playing guitar and doing some, you know, software-y stuff for his shows, and him playing guitar and backing vocals and some other stuff for my shows as well. So we've been rehearsing that, and when we started to play them live, I sort of realised that I wanted to have more fun with it, and with like the kind of more electronic-y stuff that I've been doing so far with Air, like it didn't really translate very well. So I wanted to go for a slightly different, more kind of live-suited sound, if that makes sense. And I also wanted to change up some of what I was writing about lyrically and tonally and topically and all those sorts of things. You know, the album Beauty from Chaos was a breakup album. It was was just sad electronic bangers, whereas this, I wanted to explore some different stuff. So with Relate, it's really kind of about, I mean, I'm not an influencer really by any stretch of the imagination. If I am, I'm like this micro scale influencer. But I think, you know, being so connected to like social media, it's like I started to kind of get a taste of what being so connected can kind of do to your mental health, and like how there's these kind of societal pressures to kind of be the perfect version of yourself. And that's what Relate kind of ended up being about this, you know, like, oh well, you know, if you could do this and you could do this, then like then that would, everything would be all right? So yeah, so Relate is coming November the 30th. And there's also going to be more Project Hair stuff very, very soon as well. There's going to be another Project Hair single for the album in December, early December. I want to say it's like the 8th. I'm probably wrong. I'll put it like here on the screen. So that's when it's actually coming. And there's the artwork for it too. And screw it, here's the title for the next Project Hair song as well. Let's just announce everything. But anyways, let's move on to the next segment of this vlog, which I've decided to call Hello and welcome to the first, and let's be honest, only episode of Alex Cooks a Thing. And on today's episode, I'm going to be cooking steak. So I'm going to run you through step by step me making. We're going to cook a thing. Let's cook a thing. So before we can actually cook this thing, the first thing that we actually need to do is let it reach room temperature, and it's still pretty cold. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it reach room temperature. Now we will be honest, this is probably the most boring bit, so we should probably not film all of this, right? So whilst we're waiting for the steak to reach room temperature, what we're going to do is make a drink that is in no way alcoholic. And so we've got a glass, or a glass if you're from the north of England. And to make any drink refreshing, especially one that is in no way alcoholic, first you need some ice. So we're gonna put some ice in there. That's nice. That's I hate myself. I should probably cut this bit. And this bit too, probably as well. I mean, I suppose, you know, you have to fill out that thing when you upload a video now that says whether or not your content is made for kids. And I've always, you know, my content's definitely not made for kids, but at least now it's like, we're sure, you know. And there we have it. That is a refreshing lemonade. And you might be thinking that doesn't look like lemonade, to which I would say, shut up. And so I know what you're all wondering is, what are we actually cooking with today's steak? It can't just be a steak on a plate, right? No, that would be insane. Exactly, right? So we're also going to do some chips, which is a pretty standard thing, steak and chips, and you're thinking, oh, well, what about the greens, Alex? And I'm going to say, well, I got some beans. And you're going to go, yeah, but are they any good? And I'm going to go, well, they're fine. I literally bought these purely so I could make that joke. Okay, so the oven is preheating, we're getting ready to start cooking the thing. And so while we wait, I'm going to make another drink. And does anyone remember what we put in first to make a refreshing, in no way alcoholic drink?
Salt.
Why would it be salt? Ice. Ice is what we put. Okay, so one of the first things that I like to do when I'm preparing a steak, and there is no science in this because I don't know what I'm doing, as is true for most things, is I like to prepare the seasoning. And seasoning is a big thing with steak. You might think, oh Alex, if you're doing this, you've probably got like a pre-made sort of mix that you use, a go-to, an Alex classic. No, I haven't. I've got steak seasoning that I got from the supermarket. So we're going to put a bit of this on the plate. And you can be quite generous, I find. And I've got a bit of salt, which we're going to crush up. And you can get away with quite a lot of salt, because I find that salt, if you're cooking a savoury meal, other than the kind of health concerns that come with it, you can use quite a lot. Then last up, even though it's probably in the steak seasoning, I haven't looked at the ingredients, we've got peppercorns, black peppercorns. I'm sure there's different kinds. These were the ones that I had available to me. And I can change the size of this, it's quite fancy. Look at that, I can change the little size. Then what we can do is just give that a bit of like a mix around so it's not all salt or not all pepper, so that when we start seasoning our steak, it's going to be fairly mixed. You don't have to use a plate. This is probably not the most efficient way to do it. Again, I do not know what I'm doing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our chips in the oven. I'm just using some frozen chips because they go pretty well with steak. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so those are now in the oven. So one of the first things that we're going to do with the steak, and I apologise if you are vegan, but we are going to effectively try and sort of dry it out a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some kitchen roll, and we're going to get some of the moisture that's already on it off, and then we're going to put some salt on it to draw some of the extra moisture out. So I got some kitchen roll, putting that on there, just slightly dabbing it, pressing it down, and then that will take off some of the moisture. And then once that's done, I'll use the other side in a second. We will lift the steak, put it on the plate that we're preparing it on, pop it on there, use the other side of the kitchen roll, press it down just to dry up some of that moisture, pop that tissue in the bin, and then go wash your hands, because otherwise you probably get ill. Now that that's all done, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of the salt that we've got, we're going to crush some salt on there, and that will help to draw out some of the extra moisture that's in the steak. Again, I don't know the scientific reason for doing these things. I googled it once. Now, whilst we wait for that to happen and whilst we wait for the timer to go off, we're going to start getting some of these things ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of oil. And I try not to do too much because otherwise it splashes everywhere and that's how you get scars. But also really freaking hurts. I guess you just don't want to use too much anyway. It's kind of unhealthy, right? Another thing that I do, if we're actually doing an actual cooking tip, if you're cooking pasta, put a bit of salt in your water, your pasta won't stick to your pan. Learn that one. That's a good one. But I also now just do it in everything because why not? Don't forget, I've got a new Project Hair single out today. That's why I'm doing this. First single of my album's going to be out on January 31st. First single's out today. It's called A Fisherman Lost at Sea. Definitely go listen to it because it's one of the best ones on there, which is, despite it's a single, that's how this works, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to try and be clever and try and time this up as best as I can. This is a steak that's about twice as thick as I would normally cook, so I'm going to cook it for about twice as long. I feel like there's some pretty solid maths going on there, so we'll do that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get use another kitchen roll thing, kitchen towel, get some of the moisture off of there and start putting some seasoning on there, and then in 3 minutes exactly we're going to put the steak on the pan, and then we're going to literally be cooking the thing, and that'll be that. Then we're getting to the point of things, you know. Okay, so I think we're pretty much ready to go. We are now going to pop the steak on the pan, and I like my steak kind of medium well, so this is what we're going for. Again, no science in this, don't follow what I do. Then whilst that's on there, we're going to throw a bit more of the seasoning on the other side. Okay, so the steak is on the pan, we're going to leave it on there for about 6 or 7 minutes. See when it sort of feels like the right time to flip it, just kind of go by looking at it, I guess. And then we'll wait for the water to heat up so we can throw the beans on, and then everything should be ready at roughly the same time, so we should be good to go from there. This feels so immensely chaotic. I thought this should be really straightforward and easy to film, and it really, really isn't. I don't know what I'm doing, which is really just being kind of really shown to me in a very visceral way right now. Okay, so right now the water is just about ready. It's boiling and ready to go. That's me putting water in the steak pan and nearly starting the kitchen fire. So we're going to throw some of our beans, our fine beans, in the pan, ready to go. My beans are now being cooked. I mean, if this is in any way entertaining, please do let me know, because I will probably do. If people really like this and think it's hilarious, or just love the chaotic vibes, then I'll happily make 2 or 3 more episodes of this at least, because this is quite fun, even if it's showcasing how bad I am at adulting. Okay, so we're going to flip the steak over and see if we've made a mistake. I hate my life. Not the most efficient flip, but so far looking pretty good. So we've got about 6 minutes left to go, and everything's looking pretty good so far. So props to me for surviving another day. Okay, so it is time to start dishing everything up. I think we're pretty much there. There's a minute to go on the clock, and I think we are good to go. And we're done. So that was Alex Cooks a Thing. The first and probably only ever episode, and I'm gonna go have some food, and then I'll catch up with you in a bit, and we'll talk some more music stuff. And that is that for today's vlog, and I hope you've had fun watching. If you watched the whole thing, thank you so much. The new Project Air song is out now. The next one will be out on the 8th of December, and the next Air song is out in a week, and I am so excited about this. It feels like I've been waiting ages, and the song is barely 3 months old. I wanted to get this out before the year was out, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So to end this vlog, this one-off special thing, here is a very little preview of Relate, the new Air song featuring Sam Baird, and it'll be out on the 30th of November. So check back here then for the music video, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.